After hundreds of crochet diamonds, 3 full prototypes, 7 sizes, 4 months, and more skeins of remnant yarn than I care to count, the scrap yarn crochet hoodie pattern is finally ready. I've mixed modern fashion design and a focus on sustainability with traditional crochet and quilting techniques. The result? A one-of-a-kind, use up all of your scrap yarn hoodie that you can make too. Hello and welcome to the scrap yarn hoodie crochet pattern. My name is Rebecca. I'm the designer of the pattern, and today I'm going to introduce you to the pattern, walk you through everything that's included, share a little bit of the inspiration behind the pattern, which will help you better understand how it comes together, and give you a layout of the video tutorials in this series so you know what to expect. There are only a few stitches used in the creation of this entire hoodie. So whether you are just starting out or are a seasoned crocheter, this will be a fun and sustainable adventure to go on. And if garments have ever intimidated you in your crochet journey, this pattern relies on block joining techniques with a fully mapped out pattern, and it's a great introduction into the realm of crochet clothing. This video series will guide you from start to finish throughout the entire hoodie creation process, providing visuals and tutorials to accompany the written pattern. In this video that you're watching, I'll introduce you to the scrap yarn hoodie, discussing how the design was conceptualized and how that influences the garment's fit and feel as well as its unique shape. I'll also provide a detailed overview of the pattern, what to expect, and how to approach some of the less traditional aspects that may be new to you, but I promise will make the creation of your scrap yarn hoodie that much easier and more enjoyable. And last but not least, we'll touch on sizing for the pattern, because with 7 sizes and 3 sleeve lengths, my goal is to make sure this pattern fits you as well as it possibly can. Jumping right into the pattern, this was an absolute labor of love to create. And I couldn't have done it without all of your enthusiasm wanting to make the scrap yarn hoodie. So I hope you love the process of making it as much as I loved the process of creating it. There are only a few basic crochet stitches used in this entire hoodie pattern. The single crochet is the hero of the project, used to create your diamonds. A slip stitch is used to seam all of your pieces together and for the ribbing on the sleeves and the hem. And 1 row of a reverse single crochet or crab stitch is used to finish off the hood. Despite the simplicity of the stitches, the difficulty of this pattern is rated at an intermediate advanced because of the complexity of joining the pattern of the garment. You're essentially creating the building blocks or quilt blocks of the pattern, then joining them together to form flat pattern pieces, and then seaming those all together using your slip stitch to create your hoodie. After testing this pattern, I discovered the way this hoodie comes together is pretty unusual for crocheters of any level. So the pattern is truly broken down step by step when it comes to joining the quilt blocks, holding your hand the entire way so that you don't get lost as you create your own sustainable, wearable work of art. Because of the level of detail in the pattern, I think if you feel comfortable as a beginner with the crochet diamond and the slip stitch in the 3rd and 4th videos in this series, you'll be able to be successful with this pattern because it is so very detailed with photo instructions all of the way through, as well as the written ones. Truly, for every piece you're joining together, there's a guided step for that. So again, if garments have ever scared you in your crochet journey or you're just starting out, this fully mapped out pattern is a great introduction into that realm of crochet clothing. At your request, the crochet hoodie is sized with 3 options for the sleeve and a size petite through 3X in the body. This garment has dolman sleeves, which means the arm opening is formed at a diagonal with the body, which allows both the arm and the body to be able to control the bust measurement. All of that is to say that it's really easily adaptable to a lot of sizes, and I'm really excited about that. All of the sizes are included in the pattern instructions. So you'll definitely want to make sure if you're printing it out that you check to make sure that you're only printing out certain page ranges, because there are photos for every step for every size. So if you just print all, it's going to be a lot. And again, since I want this pattern to be able to fit everyone that wants to be able to make it, you have access to all of the instructions for all of the sizes. As you're creating the garment, if you decide that the size that you chose isn't quite working out the way that you want, changing that decision is as easy as adding or taking away just a few diamonds in different places. I was so delighted by how many of you asked if I could include your size on TikTok. And I also made sure that all of the standard sizes, I have it pulled up a little bit here, but are a lot longer than my original very cropped short torso version. I know I have a very short torso. So there was feedback that the original one looked like it was cropped. Now there still is an option to have it be that shorter length, smaller body, but this is gonna be your true medium size here with the full length sleeves. It definitely has a longer length through the torso. You'll find this is a much more standard hoodie size in a medium lengthwise. It's just a little bit deceiving on my particular proportions. If you have any questions on finding your size, choosing your size, or modifying the pattern to make sure it fits you, feel free to shoot me an email and I would be happy to walk through it with you. I know sometimes when you're picking out a pattern to make for crochet, there's always this question of what is it going to look like? What is it going to include? Am I getting a chart? Am I getting shorthand, etc.? So I'm going to lay it all out for you. The Scrap Yarn Hoodie has both crochet shorthand instructions for the main quilt block pieces and charts to guide your work, but the charts aren't going to be what you're used to. Instead of the stitches being charted out, because you're really just making this crochet diamond over and over and over, instead I have the diamond patterns and how they're joined together to form the quilt blocks, and then the garment pieces charted out for you. Broken out step by step with detailed photos and charts of exactly where those pieces go along the way. All of the tricky bits have video tutorials that are listed in this playlist in the series. From the basics of creating that first single crochet diamond to seaming together your first quilt blocks and the final assembly of all of the pieces. That's my personal favorite. It just gets me so excited. The video tutorials are not needed to understand the pattern. They're more supplements in case you need a different visual or you just want a bit of company while you're working on that pattern, which I love that as well. And all of the video tutorials are linked at the appropriate places when you really need them. Some of them do link to very small subsections of videos just to make sure if you need the help, it's there within the pattern itself. So you don't need to guess when you're gonna need which video. Let me just run through all of the video tutorials that are going to be in this series. This is a scrap yarn stash busting pattern. The Scrap Yarn Hoodie is intended to be a sustainable garment. It's designed to use different scraps of yarn in each diamond, as you can see here. That scrappy feature creates the beautiful quilt-like effect, but combining yarns in different ways to accomplish this project can be a bit tricky. So don't worry, I've sorted this out for you. So up first, of course, we have a video on yarn combining, how to combine yarn and yarn scraps to achieve the perfect gauge so that you go into crocheting your first diamond confidently without going, are these yarns gonna work together? You'll learn tips to ensure your project looks cohesive despite the varied yarn sources, and find out about the exclusive tool I created to simplify the process and completely take the guesswork out of yarn combining to achieve that perfect gauge. Once you have your yarn figured out, it's time to learn how to create the foundation pieces that make up the pattern and how to join them. I've created a step-by-step tutorial that guides you through crocheting the diamond shapes that form the structural elements of the hoodie. These foundation blocks are essential for creating the pattern and will be your stepping stones to assembling the entire piece. When you have your diamonds down, it's probably ready to finish your sleeves. And the sleeves are the first part of this pattern because they really help guide you through visualizing your quilt blocks and getting familiar with how to join the pattern in the first place. To finish the sleeves, we'll need to make your cuffs, which brings us to the next video, which is a tutorial on how to create your slip stitch ribbing for the cuffs and the hem to give your hoodie that classic, polished, almost sweatshirt-like feel to it. And these are important details for getting the fit right and really elevating the comfort and the style of the garment. Once you are a diamond creating master, the next video will teach you the slip stitch seaming or joining technique. A crucial skill for being able to combine your crochet pieces seamlessly and create the lovely raised textured effect that makes this garment so special. This is a must watch since the seaming technique is actually the secret to the overall look and durability of your hoodie. And then finally, it's time to put it all together. This session aims to help you navigate any complexities in following the pattern to join these crucial pieces together, ensuring you can put together your hoodie with comfort and ease. And as much as I love the assembly video, it is not required or needed that you actually watch it in order to be able to finish your own hoodie. There are still step-by-step, very detailed guided instructions, but it might be fun to just finish it off with somebody, don't you think? This pattern is fantastic and so are you. So it's a great match. Okay, so let's get to know the hoodie a little bit better now that you know the delights that are in store for you in the pattern. The origins of the scrap yarn hoodie lie in a common issue that a lot of us face. What to do with all the mismatched skeins and yarn ends left over from different projects. It's a similar issue that you face when you sew, which is something that I do as well. And a common way to use fabric scraps is in quilting. So I decided, why not try to create something using the concept of quilting, but using crochet instead? An idea was born of a cozy, quilt-inspired crochet hoodie that was as easy to wear as a sweatshirt, while being an eco-friendly home for all of the scraps of yarn that I had. Crochet also has such a beautiful and rich history in homeware and creating all of these gorgeous art pieces for your home, much like quilting does. We've seen in recent years a lot of upcycling of quilts into garments that really inspired me to think about how I could use crochet in a similar way that was sustainable, but rather than maybe using the scraps in a blanket and then cutting it up to make a garment, what if I made the quilt block pieces small enough that you could create one of those gorgeous quilted patterns and then let the variation in the yarn that you had, the scraps you had lying around, really create an incredible pattern, but then have it directly form the hoodie shape rather than having to cut and sew anything. So you are truly in this pattern making the fabric and then making the garment, which just kind of blows my mind a little bit, and I absolutely love it because it's everything that I love about fashion and garment design. And then shockingly, the little drawing that I sketched out when I kind of fully fleshed out the idea in my head actually ended up being very true to the final shape of the garment, which, if you know anything about fashion design, is kind of shocking to have the idea in the first place and then actually have it come to life. Just blows my mind a little bit. Inevitably, when I talk about this hoodie, I always get questions about material choice. And that's a funny thing because this hoodie is meant to be made with scrap yarn. So the question of how to pick the right material and colors is really a question of what is in your yarn stash. From a technical standpoint, there is a fantastic video right after this one that walks you through how to achieve the gauge and how to calculate combined yarn weight, like I said. But I'll quickly address kind of color and texture and the feel of the garment in case that's something that you are curious about before jumping in. For the body and the sleeves originally, I did have them broken out into two distinct buckets of colorways, one being a base and then one being your main color. So when I was first making this, my base was the kind of whitish and my main was all of the colorful pieces. And the reason I did that is it does help you to see the actual shapes on this. So you can see where there's like this star here, your diamond in between and whatnot. But it truly doesn't matter how you combine the colors. As you can see, by the time I got to this one, it was just whole hog, whatever was lying around. The colors on the back, and then I got into the brightly colored yarn. So whether you're going to use a base or a main, those are really just in the pattern to help you to be able to visualize kind of how it comes together, but by no means are they a necessity that you have to seek out yarn in a different color to contrast with that piece. Whatever you have handy is perfect. Something that really surprised me actually when I was making this hoodie and chatting with some friends about it is that the different yarn types don't create much variation in the feel of the garment against your skin. The single crochet diamonds are a really tight weave and have an almost fabric-like quality to them that really unifies the hand feel of the garment. So what that means is that if you have polyester, if you have wool, you have some mohair, you have whatever, once you have crocheted them into your diamond blocks, you'll notice that a lot of that kind of texture and fluffiness and all of those things do get normalized quite a bit. Not saying that a full alpaca piece is gonna feel exactly the same way as a poly blend, but you're going to get a more uniform feel to the whole thing. And you're not gonna feel a lot of that distinction unless it's something like really, really, really fuzzy and it's just on its own. So do you have your materials ready now? Well, I guess you need to check out the pattern. So are you ready to make your scrap yarn hoodie? I hope you are. The pattern is linked below. You need your 5mm hook ready. Grab some yarn and hop on to the next video where you can start figuring out how to combine your yarn, or you can hop to number 3 and start getting going on those crochet diamonds. Again, my name is Rebecca. You can find me on all social media channels at Rebecca in Europe, and I want to see your scrap yarn hoodies. So make sure you tag me, use the hashtag scrap yarn hoodie. I cannot wait to see what you create, and I will see you in the next video.